Welcome back to the Cajon Pass and Santa Fe Railway. Thought we'd share some photos of the progress from construction all the way to where we're at today. Here you can see the train room under construction as we were getting close to getting the house all finished up. They had added drywall and a new ceiling, and carpet and lighting, and we started to dream of ideas of what our train layout would look like. Our first bench work, some 2x4s and 1x3s, and we had started the process. We used 1x3s as cross braces as we started to build the bench work, and then started with ram paper to kind of sketch out what we were thinking when it came to space and curves and such. Here you can see where the yard's going to be. You got a string there to line up all the 1x3 braces. And we mocked up an idea for our backdrop of how tall and how we would make it put together. Then we sketched out a basic idea of our yard with the main line on the left and the yard moving to the right. We spent some time working on the curves, the rest of the layout, not quite the yard part, but cutting out the shapes and the second level and getting lots of cork and rail installed. Now we're getting the cork down towards the yard on the right hand side of the engine facility, and the yard will be forward. We brought the old turntable pit from the old layout and we're able to get that installed, so that'll be a focal point of the layout. And then you're looking west of the double track main line. We greatly improved the lighting as well on the ceiling for the layout. Got the roundhouse in. Dad scratch built the roundhouse from the old layout, and luckily we brought that over too. And now we started to add some cork after we had drawn out and sketched out how the actual yard would look. You can see the upper level on the left, the lower level on the bottom left, with the trains running east to west. So you have two main lines on the left. We're going to have a couple sidings and 7 yard tracks as we started to put the cork down for the ladder. Now I've got just about all the cork done here in the yard. What's the white stuff? The white stuff is joint compound or plaster. Fill in the gaps between the two pieces of cork where it really should look flat rather than having an empty space. So it was really easy to just run some plaster throughout the yard and give it a flat look. Now we were adding ties. We used liquid nails and Central Valley ties strips, and we started to install the ties. Those gaps are where turnouts are going to go. It made it much easier to put the turnout tie strips in with a gap there. I was able to line them up. Now you're seeing the yard full of ties that have been installed. We mask off the actual tie plates on the ties, and we spray paint those tie plates to give it some color. We decided to do the yard a little different than the main line and the mainline siding. That mainline siding is about 15 feet long. The yard tracks themselves are about 10 feet long, so you can put quite a few cars in the yard. We continue to put more ties on the west end, the far that's looking way down the track. Then here at the throat into the yard with the engine facility to the right. Now we start to add some rail. The main line and the sidings have code 83, and then we recycled the code 70 rail from our old layout to this layout. Now you're seeing more ties installed, more rail installed as we get more turnouts installed. The turnouts, we got to start with installing the frogs, then we start to add the rail around it. On the right hand side, we have number 6 switches. On the ladder, they're number 5s. The number 7s are on the main line for those crossovers. Here we have the tracks are actually now wired. We got the first train down the siding, and all the rails have now been attached with feeder wires down to the bus wire. We started to add some ballast and put some cars on the track, as the next steps are to continue working on the engine facility and to start building the turnout to each of them. We have to add the closure rails, the points, the guard rails that we've installed on many of them. And you can get an idea of how big the yard is. That's those Swift cars are 5 40-footers, and we think we can get about 19 on each track. Thanks for looking.